Well, hello friends from the Sarnia community. My name is Dean Holtz and I'm the chairman of the board of directors, and I'm joined by my good friend John Charest, the vice chair of the board of directors. We want to walk you through the Celebration of Lights display here in our 38th year, and this is in the year 2022. We want to show you all the displays and go through the backstory because there's some pretty interesting stories. We're also going to let you know all the wonderful sponsors who helped to make this happen. So we want to start off right away. This might seem a little different, but we put up these shooting stars on these light posts. And when did we get those, John?
We got those 2 years ago from the village of Point Edward. The village of Point Edward graciously donated these displays as they were not using them anymore in their own village, and so we put them here on the poles as an extension of the light displays going northward.
Yeah, and even something as simple as dressing up the light posts in a parking lot, we see that as something of value to do with the Celebration of Lights. All right, so we're going to start with this display over here. These beautiful red trees is our display for MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. This particular display we've had for a number of years. When did we first get these, John?
We had the trees before, but we retrofitted them with RGB lights, and MAD asked to be a part of the celebration lights, so it was decided the trees were turned over to be red. So as you can see, they're going to be red all the time from Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And
yeah,
as you can see, there's a sign pointed at the road asking for all drivers, please do not drink.
Very important message that's valuable for all of us, and we really appreciate their passion and interest, not only in that, but of course with the Celebration of Lights to help make this happen. Now we're going to move along this way. This is actually our newest display. This is one we weren't anticipating, but Sure Signs, which is a local sign company owned by Mark Tetro, they actually built these signs, and these are characters you may recognize from rather famous movie, a couple famous movies, and they were going to mount these to their rooftop, but then they decided not to, and they thought, well, you know, we think we know who would like them and who could make good use of them, the Celebration Lights. So Mark contacted me, said, would you like to use them? We said, I think so. Let me ask John. John's the man when it comes to displays, and he says, yeah. So they not only donated these for us, but they also delivered them here. And what are these made of, John?
They're made of like a sign like Coroplast.
Right.
And basically what they did is, because they're so big, they actually built an aluminum frame which is behind them to support them stronger. So we had to use T-posts for the displays to keep them well braced against the wind. And as you can see with Frosty over there, he's just sitting on a tire which doesn't need mounting at all. And we use floodlights to illuminate the display so everybody can get photographs of the characters here of Rudolph and Santa and the sleigh.
Nice, nice. So thank you again to Mark Tetro and Sure Signs for donating that. That's very generous. Now here's a fun display here. This one we've got 3 characters. It's simply called Snowmen. The middle character you might really recognize. I mean, obviously we have Frosty on the right, and we've got Frosty's wife on the left, but we've got who in the center, John?
This is Olaf. If everybody knows the Disney movie Frozen, Olaf is featured in that movie, and he is a character in the park with Mr. and Mrs. Frosty.
Yeah, and this one's sponsored not by a business, not by an organization, but actually by Grandma Taylor and Tess and Wesley. Well, we know Grandma Taylor is Paula Taylor. Paula has actually been involved with the Celebration Lights for many years. She used to serve on the board of directors. She still comes down and volunteers a ton of hours. But as you can see, and you'll see as we go along in the video, that it's not just businesses, it's not just organizations, but it's individuals and families who say, we want to partner to make this happen. So thank you to Grandma Taylor and Tess and Wesley. Let's move along across the pathway here. Now, this is our most expansive display. We have, what is it, 18 reindeer, you said, John?
Yep, 18 different styled reindeers throughout this cornered section of the park.
So they expand all along this hill here, and they go up along the far side of the hill. Beautiful, elegant, white outlined reindeer. This display is sponsored by Joel Boisvert of Investment Advisor, BMO Nesbitt Burns. Joel actually joined our ranks as a partner. It was either last year or the year before that, and he was really excited to do it, and he got a picture with his kids, with his display, and that's the kind of passion we're looking for. We're so appreciative of that. So thank you, Joel, for helping make this display happen. Now, on the other side of the path, we have a bunch of trees set up here, right, John? And these are to say thank you to our general sponsors. And we don't have all the trees up yet, but we have a number of sponsors like this one here, Babcock Welding and Fabricating. We have Cope Construction. We have the Village of Point Edward. There's many others. The City of Sarnia, of course, is very helpful to us. A Loyal Order of Moose. We have so many businesses and individuals who sponsor us in a general fashion. They may not sponsor a specific display, but we do have a number of costs to run the celebration lights, especially to put on our opening ceremonies, which we did for the first time this year in 3 years. I estimate we had about 4,000 people. It was a beautiful night. Everything came together. Our families loved it, and we're looking forward to doing it again next year. So huge thank you to all these general sponsors. We have Sandrin Services. What do they do for us, John?
Sandrin Services allows us to store our 6 40-foot long containers, which actually hold all of our displays and equipment in them for free and no charge.
Nice, nice. We also have Sterling Crane. They help us bringing the crane. We have to get the road closed. Of course, is another way that the city helps out. And because we have a few large displays, they're just too large and heavy to have people lifting them. So we have the crane do the heavy lifting, and Sterling Crane graciously helps us out with that. We have P.E. McGibbon with the Grizzlies. They made, and we'll see later in the park, these displays with cutouts that are a lot of fun for the kids to enjoy. We have CNC Coatings. Now, what do they do, John?
CNC Coatings, 1 year, actually took the steel support stands for some of our large displays. They took them and they sandblasted them and powder coated them all black. So with their help for what they did, that will ensure that the support stands will last a long time for us.
Awesome. Now let's go over to our most iconic display. When people think of the celebration of lights, and if they are going to think of one display, most likely it's the one we're coming to now. It's what we call the Candle Arch. And this display has been in our lineup for a number of years. But this display is not only large, it's our widest display, but it's very special because it's one of a kind. And when I say one of a kind, it's one of a kind in the world. And how is that, John?
The reason why it's one of a kind is because it's a 42-foot tall display, spans 72 feet wide, and only one of a kind because, as you can see, it actually goes over the Front Street Road here. Unfortunately, this one was custom built for our city for us to use. There are other displays, twin candle arch displays, but they're in parks, but they're only going over a walkway.
Right.
So we're the only one that I know of in the world, Canada, Ontario, that has this.
Nice. And so what we did this year is we actually had put up the sponsorship for this as an auction, and the company that won that was nonetheless Enbridge, so we really appreciate their sponsorship, and we're really grateful to see our industries coming back in to help us out, like Enbridge. Imperial Oil was a general sponsor for the opening ceremonies. But thank you to Enbridge for the generosity to sponsor our gorgeous Celebration of Lights Candle Arch display. So let's head back over this way. We've got a fun display over here, which is a group of a family that's skating in various displays. Now this one we've grown like some families do, and we've added to it, right, John? What did we add recently to this one?
This one here, we added a boy and a dog on a sleigh being pulled by the boy. And on the far side over there, there's a man and a lady putting on ice skates to go on the skates. And as you can see, the other figures are all part of the skating family.
And so this is another unique display. Rather than just being one piece, it's spread out over a larger area. It's a very nice theme, and we've been allowed to grow it. This one is sponsored by City Center Car Wash. City Center Car Wash actually has new ownership. A young man by the name of Dill. He took over from Tony, owned it for many, many years, and it's actually a business that I go to all the time. And I said to Dill last year, I said, "Hey, do you want to sponsor one of the displays in Celebration of Lights?" And he says, "Yeah, that'd be great." He said, "Yeah, because it's just down the street from you." He's super excited to do it, and so he wanted to do it again this year. So we appreciate good, new, young sponsors like Dill at City Center Car Wash. Now, right across the pathway from that one, we have this elegant display of swans. And how long have we had these, John?
We've had these for a number of years before we had the big ones. Local business owned them, and they didn't want them anymore, so that we inherited them from them. But last year they needed all new socket wire, so I had to put all new socket wire on the display to make them what they were before.
Yeah, and the outline of these, they're really iconic. These are sponsored, a new sponsor again this year, Platinum Properties, which is a group of realtors that are led by Courtney Levert. We really appreciate, again, the generosity of sponsors like this. All right, now we're going to go to a display that has been out of our lineup for a couple years, but this display is very memorable because it's our second largest display. It's Neptune's Castle. Very colorful. What colors did we change on this one this year, John?
This year we changed all the little balls in the shell to quick changing light bulbs, as you can see, and the building rooftops are all iceberg blue. Basically, nice. Everybody knows that Neptune's Castle is the undersea king of the water world. And so basically this would sit at the bottom. So this display was away for about 2 years because it needed a restoration, just like Candle Arch was done before. So ProMart Industries, they took the display, sandblasted it, Fluid Industrial Coatings powder coated it, and then myself and 4 others that help in the park, we actually took the time out and restrung each frame with brand new socket wire and putting all the bulbs on. So that was a long process and a lot of tape. I'd say about maybe 45 rolls of white tape. Wow. Just to put all that socket wire on.
Yep.
And as you can see, once again, it's come back to life.
Fastenal loves us. We get all our tape from them, and we have to order a lot when we go through these displays. You know, everything breaks down, everything wears out and has to be maintained and restored, and these displays are no different than that. But when we do it right, they can last a long time and be a beautiful addition to our lineup. This display is sponsored by a variety of real estate agents at RE/MAX Sarnia Realty Incorporated, and we really appreciate that. In fact, I just want to say there's a number of real estate agents, whether as a collective group or individuals, who have sponsored this. Rob and Lou Longo were sponsors, general sponsors of the opening ceremonies. Many others, very generous, the number of agents in that industry, so thank you so much. Let's move along this way. And as we go through the displays, we can see there are trees that we have lights on. We have anchors on the posts. Those aren't displays that are specifically sponsored necessarily, but they're just extras that we do to light up the park. John, you're going to say something.
Yeah, the pole mount anchors, they are actually sponsored by QP. What's the number? Oh,
I want to say 3960, but forgive me if I get that wrong. It's the workers with the City of Sarnia.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate their dedication to being a part of this.
Yeah, even though there are only 4 pole mount anchors, but it's still a display.
Yep.
And a display can be sponsored.
Yep, absolutely. So right along this way. Now, this little dove one here, what's the story behind that one, John?
Well, when we got the displays in 2000, a local group, I don't know if they're still around anymore, Knights of Columbus, they actually had this display made, but everybody knows that this is actually the bird of life or something.
Right.
I think it's seen on letterheads, like letters. It's supposed to be like I don't know, I've seen it somewhere.
Right.
Bird of life or anything like that.
Yeah. Yep, so we put this one up as well. We don't have a current sponsor for it, but we put it up anyways because it looks great and it's a great addition to our lineup. Now right beside it, we've got two displays that we kind of put together, although they each have their own sponsors. So we have Sailboat. I mean, how could we not have something like that when we're sitting right at Sarnia Bay? I mean, we're a boating community, and so we've got to really grab hold of our culture and our heritage. This one is sponsored by WMA Promotions, Wayne Archer, awesome guy. Wayne actually served on our board for a little while and really helped out. But Wayne is just one of those kind of guys that just loves to help out the community. And one of the ways he's helped out is he's helped us with merch. So here we have, get a close up. These beautiful toques with our name stitch in it. We got 96 of these that we bought from Wayne, and he gave us a deal on them such that we could ask donations to generate a little bit of money for the organization. Now, we're out of these, but we're going to probably order more. So if you want to get one of these amazing toques to display with the celebration lights. And then the band this year that did the concert, we got these hoodies that were made up again by Wayne at his business WMA Promotions with the logo, and we're thinking about making these available. So we are looking at some merch if you want to wear our logo and kind of proudly show off this great thing that's happening in the community. Now over here beside it we have buoy marker. A little smaller display. Now this one at times we have had animation on it. It's not animated right now, but it has in the past where it's kind of moved across back and forth, so it looks like a buoy bouncing in the waves. But it's still a fun display nonetheless. This one is sponsored by LJ Custom Fence and Deck, brand new sponsor. Love it when we get new sponsors. You know, between all our sponsors of displays, general sponsors, gift in kind, we've got a sponsor list of about 80 people, organizations, businesses, which is amazing. And we're always welcoming more. So thank you so much to LJ Custom Fence and Deck. What a fun display to have. Now, right on the other side of the pathway, following with the theme of water, all things water, this one's a lot of fun. John, what do we call this display? We're going to go around the other side. What's this one called?
This one's called Mermaid. Basically, I think it's something to do with the Mermaid movie. It was based on, that would be an image of Ariel.
Yes.
And opening a chest full of jewels. Now, last year, I decided to change the lights in the treasure chest to be glittering jewels. So that looks like it, and then it looks like it's nicely animated. So
yep,
freshens up the display.
Looks good, looks good. This one is sponsored by Ryan Gervais at Remax. Again, like I said, lots of realtors jumping on board, helping out, very generous. We thank you, Ryan, for your help. Now we're not done with this water theme. The display beside it, we have shipwreck. Now you might be thinking, well, that's kind of an odd display to have in a Christmas lineup, but when did we get this one, John?
This one came to us in the year 2000 with all the other displays. It was actually incorporated to the design of, in the year 2000, the display along with Mermaid, Neptune's Castle, the anchors. It was actually incorporated to be an idea to be called a Port Sarnia.
Yes.
That's what they brought the shipwreck display into. I
Right
know
on.
it looks like, doesn't look like a underwater Great Lakes shipwreck, but nonetheless it fits in with the water themed area.
It sure does. And this one's sponsored by Wolverine Contracting. Again, another new sponsor this year. I love their name simply because the Wolverine's my favorite animal. But anyways, we're really appreciative of them coming on board as a partner with the Celebration of Lights. And as we walk through here and we look up, we can see these strings of beautiful multicolored lights in these trees. We have several of our volunteers. They have to use poles to get these up in the trees, and it just adds, because as we go through the walkway, it's just a nice effect.
Now, one thing I should mention too, Exit Realty came on board to sponsor a tree. So they donated some money, and we used the money to buy 300 iceberg blue. That tree straight across the pathway, all done in that blue, is based on the colors of Exit Realty.
Yep.
So that tree belongs to them over there.
Yep. Again, more real estate agents being generous. I love it. Thank you to Julie Jenkins of Exit Realty, Twin Bridges, Sarnia. Now, we've got a display over here that's a little more regal. We call this one Two Horse and Coach. This display, when did we get it, John?
We got it probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
On a donation from the Dow Chemical Corporation when they closed the plant.
Ah, yes.
So there's a number of displays that actually came from Dow Chemical that are in the park here. This is one of them. As you can see, it's two galloping horses with a coach.
Yeah, yeah. And so what we see in the example of that story, John, is that even local businesses or industries that might be parting ways, they see the value in giving back to the community even upon their exit. So appreciate that. Sponsor for that this year is Flowers Forever. Again, another new sponsor. So grateful for Flowers Forever. Now, we're going to go across the pathway again, and we got a fun little display for you. Yep, you're seeing this right. This is Santa on a Harley. This one's a lot of fun. And this one is very appropriately sponsored by two individuals, Mark Reynolds and Paul Babcock Jr., who both love to ride their Harleys. Mark has been out many times as a volunteer to help us with our setup and teardown. Paul Babcock Jr. actually is on the board of directors with John and I. He helps out in tremendous ways. He has made carts that makes it a lot easier for us to move our displays to and from the park. He also provides the barge that our fireworks go off on, which is actually, he's the same one that does it for our Canada Day celebrations. So he's an example of a business and a volunteer individual who just goes over and above. Thank you, Paul and Mark. This is such a fun display. Now, on the opposite side, right behind us, we've got a little bit of national pride here. Good old Canadian flag with a little animation. This one we have provided by Mitch Mustanjic of Electric Cut. Now, Mitch is a really cool guy because he comes again and helps us out with our setup and teardown. He brings his truck and his trailer. But didn't he build this one, John?
Yeah, he did. He built this one with the help of Bill Sweesum, who's another longtime volunteer with us, and he actually helped him how to install the RGB lighting in the display and how to program it so it dances in certain sequences.
Yep, beautiful display and a wonderful showcase of national pride. Love it. So thank you, Mitch, for how you help out with the Celebration of Lights. Now we're just going to go beside it here. Now this display is simply called Tobogganers. We got 3 of them. Now, unfortunately, right now, only one of them is lit. We still have to figure that out. Now, this happens every year. Not with this display, mind you. But it's the same as on your house. You drag out your lights, you put them up, they all work, and like a few days later, one of them doesn't work, or a few don't work, and you got to work on it. We have the same issues. We set stuff up, we test it, we turn it on, everything's fine. This display is RGB, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it's RGB technology, programmable lights that you can program to any color, any sequence that you want. This one here was fitted with old LED, but Bill helped us put this one to RGB, and this display is actually sponsored by the Canadian Tire Corporation.
Yes, Another locally owned but yet franchise, if you will, corporate store, local owners who love to give back to the community. We so appreciate that, and they've come back on and they are so excited. They've helped us out because there's some things that we've had to purchase where they gave us a good deal on that, and it's just that kind of partnership and that kind of willingness to give of yourself in your business that makes this community great. Why we love it, right, John?
Yeah, we do.
All right, now behind us, it's another display that's super special, very unique, and appropriately, we simply call it the light tunnel. Now, this display is actually owned and managed and set up by H.C. Stark. They came on board as a sponsor several years ago, but there's cool history about this one, and we're just going to walk down this. But John, why don't you tell us about where this all came from?
Well, these top hoops and these side stands used to be part of the 35 celestial walkway arches we got with the rest of the displays in 2000. But, you know, they were all equally spaced throughout the parkway, but, you know, it was getting to be too much to put them up and take them down every year. So Bill had the great idea of taking them all and approaching H.C. Stark about maybe making a walkway tunnel. And as you can see, all these frames work perfectly to run all this RGB strip lighting all the way down, all the way on top, and all the way over as it looks like a dancing disco effect.
Yeah. And this is really cool because people love this. Kids run through it. We've had wedding proposals. We actually had one last year that was caught by our professional photographer who helps us out. That's Teresa Chalmers of TLC Photography. She does all our photos, and it's a lot. She comes to our setup days, our displays to the park, our teardown, our opening ceremonies. She comes and photographs all these individual displays. She photographs all the entries into our lighting competition, our awards night. She does a ton. So thank you so much, Teresa. You're amazing. But she caught this young couple where actually the lady got down on her knee and proposed to her husband-to-be, if you will. And she caught that on photos, and we have that from last year. So this is a special place. It's very special to that couple. But yeah, this one is managed by H.C. Stark. Now then, this black box down here, do we still have the speaker in there, John?
I just put that in today.
Okay, so there's a speaker in this box because it's programmed for these lights to be animating to music, which is fun. We have a few other displays like that. Unfortunately, we had a speaker there that wasn't in the box, and
now there's another new.
Someone took off with it.
I actually got it plugged in and on, but the only problem is I plugged it into the box, but I'll have to get a hold of Bill that knows the RGB technology field to get it running.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun to have the music going with that. Now we're going to go through here, and to our left, we have another Regal display. So similar to the two horse and coach, we have the Royal Horse and Carriage. Now this display we've had a while, right, John?
Probably about 5 years.
Okay.
This one here came from was a donated display from the Point Edward Charity Casino.
Right, yes.
This display here they had it, and then when the casino was going, no longer going to function, I reached out to the current general manager and asked him, what are you going to do with the displays? I said, well, if you guys want them, you can have them. So, as you can see, they're here. But this one needs a little work. Like the castle and like the candle arch, that got all their work done the previous years. This one is on the slated to be redone in 2023.
Yep.
As you can see, because the reason why is because hot weather and sun don't mix well with socket wire.
Yeah, yep. And because of the weather we have, the kind of winters we have here in Sarnia, where it can be +5 one day and -2 the next, and rain, snow, sun, it is hard on these things. So while they do last a while, they don't last forever, and we do have to restore them every once in a while. This display Royal Horse and Carriage is sponsored by a local business called Motion, and we're really thankful for their help in making our displays happen. So we're going to go next door with a very similar display. So this is our third one in this kind of theme, and this one's just called Horse and Carriage. Just a smaller version, a simpler version of the Royal Horse and Carriage. But this one has been restored more recently, so all the lights are working. It looks good. This one's sponsored by Brock Canada West. Is this also about 5 years old, John?
Same amount of years as the Royal Horse and Carriage. This is another one as well that came from the Point Edward Charity Casino as well.
Right, right.
And at one time too, I don't know if you can see it, but it did look like it was animated, because there's tabs on the back for another set of wheels would actually show moving wheels.
Nice, nice. So we see that's at least two industries. We have Point Edward Casino and Dow Chemical that have donated displays, beautiful displays to us, which we're very grateful for. Now we're actually going to go behind us on the other side of the pathway here. And if you're looking at this display and you think, you know, it kind of looks like a carousel, well, you'd be very perceptive, because that's what we call it. We call it carousel. The nice thing about this is that it's individual pieces, so the families and the kids, they can go in between the display and they can have fun and enjoy it, and they can go all the way around it. How old are these displays, John?
This one here, probably in the year 1989. The Celebration Lights, when I was with the Celebration Lights back then, they actually this was the very first display of a type of display they bought like this. It was actually 5 horses, and it had a pole in the center, draped with red garland to the corners of this carousel.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now we got rid of that pole. But as you can see, now we have put packages in here, so kids can play in and around the horses, and the packages are like a little playground.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. Usually the kids do like to go through this. We like to have displays like this that are potentially more interactive, because kids don't always like to just look. They like to play and be physical, and sometimes the kids at heart as well. This one is sponsored by Sarnia Lambton Tourism. They've been great, not only in sponsoring display, but they actually are taking care of about $1,500 worth of marketing across Ontario, from Toronto to Windsor, to let other communities know about this great display that we have. And as a result, we get people coming out of town, sometimes busloads. We have gotten busloads from across the river, so our American neighbors, they can see this display from over there. Some of their radio stations let us know. But thank you to Sarnia Tourism Lambton for your support of the Celebration of Lights. All right, let's go this way. Again, we see more of these trees that are lit up along the pathway here. Not only up in the tree, but the trunks. A lot of volunteer hours go into putting this together. So we have 2 primary days where people come out. The first is the displays to the park, where we meet at Sandern Services, which the amazing thing about Sandern is they're right around the corner, so super convenient. We have our sea cans there that John mentioned, but we get a bunch of people, trucks and trailers, and we bring it over with those carts that I mentioned that Paul Babcock makes, and we simply get the displays here, set them in place. The following week, we have our community setup day. But in between that, Alexander Mackenzie Secondary School sends an army of staff and students, anywhere from 30, 40, 50, 60 people, to help out with setting up. So they'll put as many of the displays together as they can, and what they don't get done, we finish up with our community setup day. So we had 108 volunteers here on our community setup day this year in November, which was amazing. So we were able to get it pretty much done in about 4 hours. But there's always little things to be done, like stringing up these lights. I don't even know, John, do you have an idea of, like, if we were to collectively say how many man hours go into setup? It's a lot.
It's a lot. Basically, this year I decided to take some time off work and spend a week and a half at the park here. So basically, from the month of November 4th to basically through the entire month of November, going into December spending just about every day coming down the park. Just like, you know, when we have to, on a Saturday, we bring everything to the park, everything's sitting here. And then a few days later, we have Alex and Mackenzie come down to help.
Yep.
Thank you to them coming down, even though there was the possibility of a school strike, but
Yep.
thank God it was averted and they came. And you know, with their help, we had some displays, the big displays ready to go for Crane Day. And then we have our community set up on a Saturday. We have like over 108 volunteers come out.
Yep.
Which Dean said he wanted at least 100 people. And
Yeah.
he got what he wanted. And
It was good.
We had them all come out. They had all the displays put together.
Yep.
And standing up, all extension cords put out. And then we have a crew throughout the week and the next 2 weeks, taping all the extension cords and
Yep.
getting them ready, because that's one thing the inspector looks at, make sure everything's taped. And then he gave the okay to put everything on, and then basically getting ready up until the last day before opening ceremonies, making sure everything's ready to go. And I got to make sure all the timers in this park, there's 7 timers in here, I got to spend about 30 minutes on each one, which is tied into my phone. So when we have the opening ceremonies, we have the 15-minute countdown, and everybody needs to know when Santa throws that switch, all this stuff comes on.
Yes, when Santa turns on the lights. We have a lot of fun with that. So I'm going to say, to guess, it's probably collectively about 1,000 man-hours, person-hours, if you will, to put this together. That doesn't include tearing it down. Now, that doesn't take as long. Still takes a lot of time. The point is, a lot of effort from a lot of people. We are so grateful. So right around the corner here, we've got a fun display, gingerbread man, bear, and gift. Cute little display again, several individual pieces the kids can run in around this one. This one is sponsored by the Holtz family, not to be confused with the Holtz family, but the Holtz family nonetheless. They've been sponsoring this display for a number of years. Again, the sponsorship of this display is not just businesses, not just organizations, but individuals and families. And we are so grateful for good people like the Holtz family. John, when do we get these displays?
The packages, they're all in 2000. But the bear and the gingerbread man, they actually were another local business, or I don't know if it was business, but the Northgate BIA, which is near where the old Simpson Sears was, these displays came from them. They donated it to us, as like every other business that goes out. They decided, they know that the Celebration Lights is up and running, so they give them to us.
Nice, nice. Again, great generosity. Now let's follow around this way. This next display is our tallest display. This guy right here, we simply call our fireman's tree. The reason is, it's because it's our local Firefighters Association that puts it up. It's a lot of fun. RGB lights, of course, you have the blinking, flashing animation. There's a speaker there, so it's going time to music. A lot of people love to just sit under there and dance and have fun. What I love about this display is when you come down London Road, you can see this display for quite a ways down, and you can anticipate seeing the celebration lights. So we are grateful to our local Sarnia firefighters, first and foremost, for what they do for a living. The fact that they're willing to put their lives on the line to save us when we're in our need in a treacherous situation, which we hope never happens to anybody. Unfortunately, it does. So we're so grateful to them, but also because how they give to the community by way of putting up this beautiful display. Now on the south end of the park, we have another special display, and this one got recently restored. Was it last year or the year before, John?
No, this one never got restored. This was another donated display from the Point Edward Charity Casino.
Oh, okay. All right. See, and this is why I have to ask John, because he knows about these displays better than anybody. So this one, Season's Greetings, is an iconic display. A lot of people like to get their photos with their family in front of this display. And this year, John decided to put it at the south end of the park. Why was that, John?
Well, because normally this display last year was where Neptune's Castle now is standing. but normally the castle would sit down here. But I wanted to have the castle to take center stage for its grand return. So I decided to bring the season greeting sign down here, as when people drive down Front Street, that's the first big display they see.
Yeah, yeah, and it's beautiful. It's bright, it's gorgeous. And what I love about it is, you know, when you come from the north end, the first thing you see is our beautiful Candle Arch celebration lights. Now, when you come from the south end, you see this gorgeous Seasons Greeting sign. It just pops, and it greets you literally into our displays. So, and the sponsor of this one is who, John?
Royal LePage Kia Realty sponsored this one.
Yep. So thank you. There's 3 owners there, Mike Cullis, Donna Mathewson, and Andrew Bain. Again, very generous for them to, and that's new for this year, for them to jump on board and help sponsor and to really show off and brighten our lives with this gorgeous display. Now, we're going to head along to the waterfront.
One more thing I should add for this display. There's 2 versions of this Season's Greetings marquee sign display. The reason why is because the smaller version of this one only has 2 poinsettia flowers. This one has 3, because this one here is a deluxe model marquee display.
Nice, nice. All right. Well, we like to be deluxe here in Sarnia, that's for sure. So yeah, we're going to head to along the riverfront. So basically the way we've laid out our displays is such that we have these 2 paths, one that follows alongside of Front Street and the other one that follows alongside the riverfront, and so that you can basically just circle around and see all of the displays. And so that's very intentional, so it just makes it simple for people to loop around. And here we have a nice young couple enjoying a dance to the music. A lot of people love to do that with this fireman's tree. Now, not only is there a lot of time that goes into putting this together by a number of volunteers, but John alluded to there are a few volunteers that go over and above, not the least of which is John. He's the director of our display setup and teardown, and he literally takes vacation time to give us a ton of extra time. So thank you so much, John, for doing that. He's very selfless when it comes to what he gives to this community through the celebration of lights. But also, there's 4 women who also go way over and above and beyond. They are Paula Taylor, Leanne Rayner, Leslie Cadwallader, and Kathy Marcinkowski. And they are here not only for our displays to the park, our community setup, but they will come after the community setup and do all that extra work that has to be done to prepare all the lights, stringing the lights in the trees, and they come almost every day, just putting in so much extra time. They are 4 absolutely amazing women. We appreciate them so much. So which display is this, John?
This is Man and a Boy pulling a Christmas tree. Another one of the displays of the 2000 year that we got all the big ones here. It's a medium-sized, small display. This one here was sponsored by Sean and Tara Antle from Corona.
Yep.
And I think there's another part that they help Celebration Lights out.
Yeah, so Sean and Tara actually, they run the Cooperators Insurance there in Corona, and that's actually who we currently get our insurance from for the Celebration Lights. They've been great to us, not only in that regard, but to sponsor this display and just their enthusiasm to partner with this great endeavor to bless the community. So let's head this way. Now the next grouping of displays, John was intentional to group displays by theme. So we had, water theme, and we have the horse and carriage theme. But this next grouping of displays is based upon religious and faith-based theme. That's very important to a lot of people, not the least of which is yours truly. And so we have a few displays. The first one is a lot of fun. It's Noah's Ark. And kids usually like this one. Now on this one, on the top here, we have the giraffe head, which we have in the past have had it so that it could light up, so that it could be moving, so it gave the impression of the boat kind of bobbing in the water. We don't have it set up for that right now. We might get that working again, but nice colorful display. And this one's sponsored by Mellon. Now, when did we get this display, John?
This was the year, another year of 2000, we got this one. This one was, it was another religious-based display that we got with all the other ones too.
Yep.
It was like, this one is a fairly large display. We've had issues with this display because it's the ground's so soft and it would almost want to fall over. So we're asking Paul Babcock, who's on our board, if he can build an actual support stand for this display so it won't tip over.
Yep. Yeah, and Paul said he's going to do that. Again, great sponsorship, great volunteering, great generosity from good people in our community. Following along, pardon me, we have two of these. This is our first Peace on Earth sign. We also have a little angel with it. This is sponsored by InFocus Eye Care. They've been with us for a few years. How long have we had this display, John?
This one here, this one out of the other Peace on Earth display was donated by Point Edward Charity Casino. This one here, we actually had some time to restring this whole entire display, so this one's all got new socket wire on it and new lights on it this year, or back when we did it a couple years ago.
Nice, nice. Well, beside it, we do have an iconic display, which is simply the nativity scene. Now, unfortunately, in the center, we do have baby Jesus, but he's not lit up. We're going to try to get that sorted out. This one is sponsored by Dean Holtz Photography. Well, yours truly. This one does mean a lot to me as a man of faith, but it means a lot to a lot of people. And there's a kind of a cool story behind this one. John, what is it?
After in the year 2002, after we had all the displays, some churches of the city of Sarnia had asked, how come there's not a nativity scene? So they all got together and they contacted Carpenter Decorating, which made majority of the displays in the park, to make this one. And then this one was brought to the park, and so there was a nativity scene that talks about baby Jesus' birth into the world. And as you can see, we still have it today.
Yep. Yep. Now here's our second Peace on Earth display. It is the same as the other one, except for what, John?
Well, it's just one thing different. The word peace is different. The word peace on that other one, on the other display down there, is in pink. We put this one in green so we could separate them, so they're not the same.
Yep.
So this is actually called Peace on Earth Scroll. That's the actual name it's supposed to be. It's named out.
Yeah.
With 5 different poinsettia flowers on it.
And this one's sponsored by Graceworks Construction, and we appreciate their sponsorship. And you know, we're okay with having 2 Peace on Earth signs in this park because I think we can all agree it'd be good to have a little more peace on this earth. Now, here we have some fun displays. This is what we're talking about, P. McGibbon as a sponsor, and the signs we had earlier. This is what they've done. They've created these fun pictures with the cutouts, and so the kids put their faces in there, and not just kids at heart. You know, people just like to have fun and poke their faces through, get a picture with it, and have a lot of fun with that. So we got this one with the grizzly bear because it's the P. McGibbon Grizzlies. We have this one with the elves and the snowman. We have another one over here with more elves. We have 2 more. We have this fun one, Joyeux Noël, with the Christmas tree, more elves. And we have this last one with Santa. So thank you to P. McGibbon and the amazing kids that have put that together to have a lot of fun. And the kids do really enjoy this. Now, this display over here, John, this one's pretty cool. Because it's really different. It's not a bunch of lights on it. We have it lit up with spotlights, but who is this?
This here is supposed to be Snoopy's arch nemesis, the Red Baron. Everybody knows about Snoopy and the Red Baron from the Great Pumpkin TV show during the Halloween season, but also he's featured in the movie. It's Christmas Time, Charlie Brown. This one here was actually built by the students at Alexander Mackenzie's woodworking shop.
Yep.
They've had it hanging from their ceiling for so many years, so they donated it to us. Then they also built the actual doghouse with Snoopy on top to go along with the plane.
Yep. Yep, so it's a very cool display. And this one is sponsored by none other than Blackwater Coffee. Dave and Alyssa, wonderful family that sponsored not only the display, but they actually provided our hot drinks in combination with the Imperial Oil, gave out hundreds of hot drinks, hot chocolate, hot apple cider, and of course their high octane Imperial blend that they make exclusive at their shop at our opening ceremonies. So again, we just love community businesses and families like this who get behind what we're doing. They see the value to the community.
So this one here, I know we don't want to miss this one. This display is a series of 4 pole mount angels going all the way down the walkway.
Yep.
Along the waterfront. This one here was sponsored by Jen Johnson and family in loving memory of Ellen Paquette Murphy.
Yep.
This one they've sponsored us, I think, a few years in total.
Yep. So thank you, Jen Johnson and family. Jen Johnson is actually a member of our board of directors. She's the one that puts together the residential lighting competition, does an amazing job, works hard, and just generally helps us out with so many things. Her daughter, Jordan, is also on the board and is our director of administration. And so wonderful family who helps us out in tremendous ways. Now, this display, you might recognize these characters. We call them marching soldiers, but they look very similar to the Nutcrackers. And these are displays that can be animated. We don't have them animated right now, but they have been animated in the past. When did we get these displays, John?
These ones actually were also the part of the 2000-year lineup.
Yep.
With all the other displays. They are supposed to animate, as you can see from the first one, his hands down, and it's supposed to go up and down. It's like a marching soldier.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
So this display is actually sponsored also by Graceworks Construction. So they generously decided to sponsor 2 displays this year. We really appreciate the good people at Graceworks Construction. And this is another fun display. Now beside it here, and this whole time now, we've been walking right along the riverfront. So it's just awesome to be able to enjoy these displays. You can look back and see all the displays from here. And we're so blessed to have this gorgeous waterfront on our doorstep. Now this one's fun because it is animated. As you can see, we got these penguins sliding down the top of the igloo and crashing into the snowbank here. Now, who takes care of this display, John?
This one's handled out by Intertech Technologies, which that's Randy Rogers and their crew. So this display is another display donated by Point Edward Charity Casino. And then they sponsored it when we brought it to the park, when it had the old LED lights on it. And they thought it'd be better with RGB, so they took it, stripped it clean, and then they added all the RGB lights on it. And as you can see, it looks a little bit better. Kids actually love to play in the little entrance door there.
Little doorway, yeah. Yep, this display is nice and bright. Looks great. We appreciate Intertech. Well, we're almost done, but we got a couple more displays down here. Now, keeping with the penguin theme, this display over here, it's not penguins on an igloo. What are these penguins doing, John?
These ones are fishing. The one there is they're actually trying to fish penguins trying to fish for a fish out of the ice hole in the ice. As you can see, he's like put his rod in, pulls out a fish.
Yep. So again, we have a little bit of animation there, make it fun. How long have we had this display, John?
These three all came from Point Edward Charity Casino.
Okay, again. Yep. So they gave us a number of, and this is sponsored by Sarnia Tirecraft, another business that has been on board with us for many years. Really appreciate their generosity. You know, when I went in to stop by to ask them if they wanted to partner again and talk to them, their faces light up. It's not a burden for them to be asked. They are grateful for the opportunity to help out with something. Because with the Celebration of Lights, what's different than some of the other things that happen in this community is that this is something that people can enjoy for 5 to 6 weeks. It's not a day or a weekend. We put these up for everyone to enjoy. They go on at 5 p.m., they go off at 11, and they're on until January 1st. January 1st is the last day that they're on, but it's really a wonderful thing for people to enjoy. And people make it a family tradition to walk through here and enjoy this. Now, this tree right here, what's special about this, John?
This one here, let's see, should be on the front here. This one here was sponsored by the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 62.
Yep.
So they approached us and they wanted to be a part of Celebration Lights. So they actually donated some money and we used it to buy socket wire and red and white light bulbs to represent Canada, as most members probably fought in the wars of the Great World Wars.
Yeah.
So this tree is decorated in honor for them.
Yeah, you know, it's really the least we can do, and it's interesting because when they contacted me to say, hey, we want to donate some funds to help out, which we really appreciate. It's humbling. It's humbling to have a veteran come to you say, you know, I want to help you out with this, because we all owe them so much, and especially those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So we figured this is the least we could do to honor the men and women who not only have but today continue to be in that occupation to provide for our security and our safety. So thank you so much to our veterans, and we love this tree. Now we got another interesting tree back here. This one's not an official display, is it, John?
Which one? This
tree right there.
In front of us?
This is just part of the various trees that we've lit up.
No, this is the AMSS tree.
Ah,
because
okay.
of the colors of the Alexander
right.
Mackenzie.
Okay, so this is what I'm asking. So again, you're hearing this theme, AMSS referring to Alexander Mackenzie Secondary School. These are the ones that send out a bunch of kids to set up, to tear down. They're the ones that built the Snoopy and Red Baron. They have been just so helpful in so many ways. So this tree is dedicated to them because they're just awesome. It's just that simple.
And as you can tell with the color scheme, their colors are blue, green, yellow.
Yep.
Of what they are.
Yeah. So John, I think we've gotten through all our displays, haven't we?
Yeah, we actually got through them all.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think this has been a great time together. You know, we want to say thank you to everybody who has been involved with the Celebration of Lights, from the volunteers that help with setup to all the display sponsors we've gone through tonight. We wanted to honor them, and we'll continue to honor them. All the general sponsors who help make the opening ceremonies happen. The biggest we've had this year, I estimate about 4,000 people came out. It was a gorgeous night. We had a Christmas Carol concert, fireworks, Santa, horse wagon rides. It was great. It was so much fun for our families. And it was all free for everyone to enjoy. They just had to show up. No, it wasn't a ticketed event. That's because of the generosity of all those sponsors and all the volunteers who put in the time and the gift in kind. We have a number of sponsors. They don't give us money, but they give us stuff in place of money. They do things for us, gift in kind, which is just as valuable. And so what we're planning on doing is we're going to be having an awards night, which is planned for Monday, December 19th. We're going to give more details online, but we are going to be honoring all the people who come together, and it's a lot of people, to make this happen, because this is really a community affair. John and I serve on the board of directors along with the others we've mentioned: Paul Babcock, Jordan Johnson, Jen Johnson, Matthew Mullen. Matthew Mullen of Red Chair, he does our website for us, great guy. And Ace Concordia, Santa. He's the Santa Claus in the Santa Claus Parade. He's the Santa at our opening ceremony. He's Santa. He helps us out so much. But that's just 7 people. It's a small group of volunteers that provides leadership, but it's because of so many others, hundreds of other people and organizations, businesses that give of their time, their talents, their treasures, so that we can put this on and bless the community. So we want to say thank you to all of you. We're going to do that formally at our awards night and honor, and we're going to pay tribute, extra tribute, to the award winners. So stay tuned for that. And I want to thank John for helping me out with this. We want to give a huge shout out to David Burrows for doing our live stream for us. We're sorry that we had to start it late. We had something we were doing before and things were delayed, so we appreciate your patience and understanding of that. And we look forward to you enjoying this for this season and many to come. We have plans to maybe see this grow, and so we ask that you would continue to support us. We still need donations to come in because we're trying to plan a year in advance. So again, please come by and enjoy the Celebration of Lights. This is our 38th year of 2022. Enjoy, and from John and I in the board, have a very Merry Christmas.